since it's a double, I'm going to roll again and try to find a book that fulfills both of the prompts. Let's see if I regret this. 8 again. Okay, so last time we were on chance. So 8 forward is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. TBR vet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a poll. So I'm going to post a poll really quick with a couple books that I've had on my TBR for a long time. Hello. I just realized I did not get back to you last night about the book that I'm going to be reading next, but I am going to pick up The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I made a poll on my community tab, which I have now, which is very cool and exciting. I didn't realize you could get that without being monetized or like higher up than I am, but I got it. So that's exciting. So I did make a poll on there with 4 books that have been on my TBR for a while because the 2 prompts that I got were TBR vet and poll. And so, unsurprisingly, The Starless Sea won. I know this book is really, really popular. I have had it on my TBR for quite a while, and I know that a lot of people love this book. I really liked The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, so I'm hoping that I also like The Starless Sea. I've heard people either really like her writing style or really don't like her writing style. I am a little nervous because I read Night Circus almost 2 years ago now, but I know that my reading tastes have been changing a lot kind of recently, so I'm hoping I still like her writing style, and I'm hoping that I like this book. I've heard pretty negative reviews, but I've also heard some people love it. So I don't really know all that much about what this is about, except for it's about a boy who is studying in this library, and then he finds out about that's Strange the Dreamer. I'm going to look up what this is about, because I think I'm describing Strange the Dreamer. Hold on. Okay, so I looked it up, and I think I was kind of right. But it's about this guy whose name is Zachary, and he finds a book that has like fairy tales and spiritual texts in this library at a school, but it also has stories about him. And so he starts to like try to figure out how to uncover more about this. I think it's another portal fantasy. I know I just read The 10,000 Doors of January and did not like it very much, or thought it was fine. It was like 3-star for me. I'm really concerned about how much I like this book, but I also know that if I don't read it now, I will probably never read it, so I need to just get it over with. How's that for a little makeshift tripod action? You're sitting on top of a stack of books that I hauled semi-recently. I think either in my last vlog? Yes, I think in my last vlog. But I wanted to also let you know that I've read a couple things since we last spoke. So I think I mentioned that I finished the audiobook I was listening to of A Heart and a Body in the World and gave it 5 stars. I also think that I've talked to you about, that should be in the last vlog, so that's not in this vlog. I also talked to you about the last book that I was reading for BOOKOPLATHON because I said I was going to roll again and then I never ended up doing it. But since then, I listened to another audiobook on my drive back from Nashville because, again, it's like a 9-hour or 8.5-hour drive. I didn't listen to it the whole time, so I did finish it yesterday. But I did finish this book. It's called The House of Ashes by Neville Stewart. Stuart Neville. And this is classed on Goodreads as a mystery thriller, but I think that's really inaccurate. I think it would be better classified as like a gothic horror. And I gave this 2 stars. Full disclosure, I did not like this book, but it's about these 2 women in 2 timelines, and the only thing they have in common is that they lived in the same house or live in the same house. So the present day timeline is this girl, Sarah, who moved this house. It's like a farmhouse in Northern Ireland with her husband, who you very quickly find out is really abusive to her. And she does not know the circumstances around this house and how they came to get it really, really cheap. And then you also follow the past timeline of this woman, Mary, who lived in the house with basically like, not really a cult. It was these men who kidnapped these women, and they all lived there, and she was like the kid there. There's also weird like ghost stuff going on, which is never really explained, which is one of my qualms with this book. But overall, what I didn't like about this book is that it's basically just about like not even cycles of abuse. It's just about like these horribly abusive situations that these 2 people are in. And there's not really any like light at the end of the tunnel. Also, the way that like they each get out of the situations is interesting. I feel like this isn't a mystery thriller because it's not that thrilling. The pacing wasn't done in a way to like make you thrilled. I didn't feel. And also, there's no mystery. Like, they tell you what happens to the family living in the farm in the first instance, almost right off the bat. I won't tell you here because the main character does find it out, and that's how you find out, but I think she finds out around the like 40 page mark. This book is not even 300 pages, and she finds out like 20% in. So maybe that's like the 60 page mark, my bad. But it's just like, for me, I just didn't like the story that was being told. I did think that the rating was pretty good. Some of the imagery was pretty good. It was definitely very like horrifying. It's really violent. That's another thing I will say. Not just in like domestic violence, but there's a little bit of like animal violence and other things of that nature. It does take place on a farm. But yeah, that book wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. It has like a surprisingly high rating on Goodreads. I guess it's only 3.8, but a lot of the reviews are 4 stars that I've been seeing. And so I was like expecting to like this a lot more than I did. Full disclosure though, I did not read the synopsis, I don't think. I think I just figured out that it was in Ireland and the audiobook came up and I was like, yeah, I'll read that. I would love to read a mystery thriller. That sounds like a good thing to read while you're on a drive. It'll keep your mind occupied, especially a really long drive. And it did that, but I just overall didn't really like the story, I guess. So I'll let you know if I have any updates of The Starless Sea. I got an audiobook of that. I don't know if I told you that already or not. I might try to find an ebook as well, just because that'll be easier to read. The other things that I'm reading right now are the 2 novellas that I'm reading as a part of my personal trying to read the Cosmere in chronological order. So I'm reading last month's novella, which is Mistborn: A Secret History, and I think I'm almost done with it. I can't tell because I have it as an ebook, and it's a part of Arcanum Unbounded, which is like a bunch of short stories and novellas from the Cosmere. So I don't know where it ends. I could look, but it would be harder or like less convenient to look than it would just be to like keep reading it and figure it out, if that makes sense. So I have that, which is going fine. I typically feel like the novellas that Brandon Sanderson writes as a part of stories that already exist, and this doesn't just go for him, this goes for like other things as well, I usually feel like they're not that great or groundbreaking. I will say Mistborn: A Secret History does have some interesting tidbits. It is following my least favorite character from Mistborn, so take that for what you will. But it does have some like interesting things happening with the world and like fleshing out the Cosmere as a whole, which I do like. And then the other one that I have to read is, what is it, Jack the Allomancer and the Pits of Eltania? Allomancer Jack, maybe? But I have to read that one as well, and that's the one that I have for September that I'm supposed to be reading, so I will hopefully get to that. It is also set in the Mistborn universe, but I do think this one takes place in Mistborn Era 2, which I've probably talked about a bunch on this. I definitely have talked about a bunch on this channel. It's not my favorite of Brandon Sanderson's stuff. I don't really love steampunk, to be honest, and I will say Matt's fantasy reviews, or Matt's fantasy book reviews, excuse me, as someone that I am friends with on Goodreads, and I typically agree with a lot of his reviews, and he gave it 1 star. So we shall see how I feel about it. That's that for now. I am watching the reading sprints that Amanda at Ginger Snapped reads, or just Amanda, I think is what she goes by, at Ginger Snapped reads. And so we are probably going to start sprinting here in a minute, but I just wanted to give you that update. And now it's been too long, but I will talk to you when I have another one. Hi, I just want to do a quick update because I did just read Allomancer Jack and the Pits of Eltania, or whatever it's called, and I didn't love it, but also I read the postscript, which is like Brandon Sanderson basically in this collection of short stories that he wrote, Arcanum Unbounded. For each story / novella, he tells you why he wrote it and like what his inspirations were for it and what world it fits into, etc. And this one, he mentions footnotes, and there are no footnotes in the ebook. So I just wanted to mention that. If you read the ebook, I think we are missing a large chunk of this story in particular because there were asterisked points, but there were no like footnotes or anything like that. So just a heads up. I don't know if I would reread this one just because it wasn't that impactful. Like I mentioned, it is in Mistborn Era 2, which is my least favorite thing that Brandon Sanderson has written to date that I have read. Just because the setting is not for me. The characters aren't my favorite. The tropes played with aren't my favorite. I'm not a big Westerns gal. I'm not a big steampunk gal. So all of that. But I did just want to let you know that that is my update on that. And I think I'm going to get ready for bed, and I might film my like nightly routine for you. I know you probably don't care, but I love seeing that kind of thing, so I might do that. Okay, hi, this is the other angle of my bedroom. The lighting's not as good here, which is why I usually don't film here. Not that the lighting is ever good in this room, to be honest with you. But I also wanted to update you that I have started The Starless Sea. I am listening to it as an audiobook, and I really don't like the audiobook, but the ebook is not available for like 6 weeks on either of my apps that I have for the library. So I might try to see if I can go to the physical library and see if they have a copy of it there tomorrow or something, because I just don't like the way the narrator is narrating it. Is that an unpopular opinion? You'll have to let me know. You'll have to let me know if other people also don't like the audiobook of this, and if I'm doing myself a disservice by listening to it as an audiobook. It's also kind of long. It's like 19 hours of audiobook. I've only listened to 6% of it so far, because I just listened to it on my walk to and from work, and then I just started listening to it right now for my like get ready with me thing. But I just wanted to let you know, because I meant to say that earlier. I just am not liking the audiobook very much. I've sped it up a little bit more because I think part of the issue is that he pauses at weird times. So I had it on like 2 times speed, but I've sped it up to like 2.5 times speed. And I'm hoping that helps, but I'll let you know if it does or not. Also, I forgot to edit my vlog that is supposed to go up tomorrow, so we'll see if that actually goes up. Also, you can see that my drawer is open, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm going to finish getting ready, and then I'll let you know when I have another update. But that's my update for Starless Sea so far. Not loving the plot, but also it's at the point where like you're just now figuring out what's going on. It opens with like stories from this book that this guy ends up reading, but the guy doesn't pick up the book until later, and then he realizes that part of the book is his story, and so I think that's going to spew him going to find this portal into another world that he allegedly found when he was a kid but never opened. I don't know. I usually really like portal fantasy. Like, that's something that I've always really enjoyed. But 10,000 Doors of January was also portal fantasy that had a book within a book element, and I did not like it at all. So I'm worried that we're having a repeat of that. So I am listening to the Starless Sea right now on reading sprints for BOOKOPLATHON with Becca. She's hosting reading sprints. I think she does these semi-regularly. I usually miss them because they're... obviously, she's in the UK and I'm in the US, so the timing is different, and I'm usually at work while she does them, but it's weekend, so I'm doing them right now. I'm sorry, you can see my pile of laundry in the corner. Okay, so now you just see my headboard. That's fine. But I wanted to update you with how I'm feeling about The Starless Sea. I'm only about 3 hours into the audiobook. I know I haven't been listening to it a ton. I also picked up an ebook copy of the First Pages and Co book, so I'm also reading that when I have time to like read, but I don't have time to listen to something, if that makes sense. And that's just a middle grade about a girl named Tilly who lives in a bookshop with her grandparents. Her mother went missing like shortly after she was born. They don't know where she went. I have a feeling that I know where she went, but I think Tilly is going to find out that she can go into the book world and people from the books can come out into her world. She's already sort of had a couple interactions like that. I'm curious to know if readers who are younger, like, because this is made for middle grade, if they would know that that's what's happening, or if it's just obvious to me as an adult because I know these characters so well. So I don't know, but I am liking it. It's very cute. It's by Anna James. And it's a really sweet little book so far. But The Starless Sea, the real reason I'm here, is, how do I explain this? So it's very much like Erin Morgenstern's book, The Night Circus, in that there's not a whole lot of plot going on. It's mostly just vibes. But I think because I knew that going into it, it's not bothering me as much as the 10,000 Doors of January bothered me. But the problem with 10,000 Doors of January for me personally was that I feel like the author set up a lot of plot points and then I felt like didn't follow through with them. So there is a book within a book in Starless Sea. I'm liking it. Okay. It's very whimsical writing, but again, I think I went in expecting that to be the case. And also, I don't know what the heck is going on, and I'm really curious to see if I'm going to figure out what's going on. So I'm going to keep reading it. I mentioned on a live, like on Wednesday, I think, that if I got to 25% and wasn't liking it, I was going to DNF. At this point, I'm not quite at 25%, but I'm still interested to give it a shot. So I'll obviously let you know how that goes. It's Saturday. I think I already mentioned that. Hogs play at 6, so I'm wearing my Hogs shirt. We're going to go over to our friend's house and watch the game, which is really exciting. And I don't know what else I'm going to do today, but if I do anything else, I will let you know.
I just don't understand how they can keep stats on every single little detail. Like how many times they sneeze during the game.
Yeah.
Like,
Hello friends, it is Sunday night, so I don't know when the last time I checked in with you, maybe Saturday actually, so maybe it hasn't been that long. I have a couple of reading updates. So I mentioned that I'm reading Tilly and the Book Wanderers, which is the first book in the Pages and Co series. That's not a part of BOOKOPLATHON, it's just an ebook that I picked up. It's a cute little middle grade fantasy thing about Tilly who can wander in and out of books, I think is what's going to end up happening with it. I haven't gotten to that point yet, I'm about 30% of the way through it. But I am enjoying that. It's very cute. I'm also about 62% of the way through The Starless Sea, and I'm going to DNF it. So I don't care about what's happening. I literally, like, the plot is just not doing it for me. The lyrical writing is fine, but it's just not a book for me, I think. I think if I'd read it a few years ago, maybe I would have liked it more. Unfortunately, I don't like it very much, so I'm not going to keep reading it. Originally, I said if I got to about 25%, I was going to DNF it if I didn't like it. And then at that point, I was still kind of intrigued to read more, but I feel sort of meh about the whole thing, so I am going to DNF that. So I'm about to pick another book, so that will be in this vlog so you can see what I pick, or honestly, I might just put that in tomorrow's vlog, but I am about to roll and think about what I'm going to pick right now. But before I do that, we went to Half Price Books. So I got a lot of books. I spent almost $90, but I wanted to go ahead and do a little book haul for you. So first up, I did get Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Crosby. I am going to read you the back of this because I don't know exactly what it's about, and I think this will be a better explanation, but it says, once known as the best getaway driver east of the Mississippi, Beauregard Bug Montage has never stopped looking over his shoulder. He knows that no matter how long he has been out of the life, no one ever gets out completely. Now Bug is an honest mechanic, a loving husband, and a hardworking dad. But when his carefully built new life begins to crumble and a former associate comes calling with a can't-miss jewelry store heist, Bug feels he has no choice but to get back into the driver's seat. Haunted by the ghost of who he used to be and the father who disappeared when he needed him most, Bug must find a way to navigate this blacktop wasteland or die trying. I'm really excited to read this. I've heard really good things about S.A. Cosby. I think you said Crosby earlier. S.A. Cosby's books, but I've never read one, so I'm very excited to read that. I also got The Babysitter's Coven, which by Kate Williams. This is the start of a YA series, and I don't know that much about what this is about, but I think it's about a group of girls. It's supposed to have like the Craft vibes, but also obviously it's paying an homage to the Babysitters Club. So I'm really excited to hear about these like teen babysitters / witches. I don't know. I feel like this will be a really good like spooky read too for October, so that's why I got that one. Also, I love the way these two look together. Like the purple, for whatever reason, is really calling to me. This is my favorite color, purple, so I'm very into that. Then I got Arsenic and Adobo, which is a book that everyone was talking about last year or 2 years ago. I don't really know. This is a Book of the Month Club pick, and this is a cozy mystery, I believe, about a woman who works at her family's restaurant, and I think she accidentally poisons a food critic, and it's just sort of about the fallout of that. And I do want to read more cozy mysteries, so I am very excited to read this one as well. I think, again, that might be a good fall autumnal read. So we're coming up on October, and I think that'll be a good reprieve from like some more intense thrillers, if that makes sense. Then I did find 2 Toni Morrison books that I've been wanting to read. One is The Bluest Eye, which I believe is about colorism, and a little black girl who wishes that she had bluer eyes. I don't really know that much about what Toni Morrison's books are about, to be completely honest with you, but I do want to read all of her books because everything that I've read by her so far I have loved. And then I also have Home by Toni Morrison, which is, I'll read you the back of this one as well. This says, when Frank Money joined the army to escape his too small world, he left behind his cherished and fragile little sister C. After the war, his shattered life has no purpose until he hears that C is in danger. Frank is a modern Odysseus, returning to a 1950s America mined with lethal pitfalls for an unwary black man. As he journeys to his native Georgia in search of C, it becomes clear that their troubles began well before their wartime separation. Together, they return to their rural hometown of Lotus, where buried secrets are unearthed and where Frank learns at last what it means to be a man, what it takes to heal, and above all, what it means to come home. Very excited for that one as well. I do, again, really want to read all of Toni Morrison's books because I've loved everything that she's written that I've read so far. Next, speaking of more intense thrillers, I did get The Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. This is a Book of the Month Club copy. I do try not to buy those, but there were only Book of the Month Club copies of this book, and I don't know what this is about really. I think it's a domestic thriller, but I've heard so many people talk about this book and really seem to enjoy it, and other Darby Kane stuff, so when I saw this, I was really excited to pick it up. I don't like to know too much about my thrillers before going into it, but I do believe that this is a domestic thriller. So I'm very excited for that. Then I bought Still Lives by Maria Hummel, which is about an art student who I think goes missing or something. Or an art figure who goes missing from her own gala. And I had this on my TBR months ago, and I never ended up getting to it. I got it from the library at that point, and then my copy was due back, so I had to return it, and I never ended up reading it. But I do really want to read this year. I'm trying to read a lot of books that have been on my TBR for a long time so that I can take them off my TBR if they're not something I want to read, which is another reason I'm DNFing The Starless Sea, is because I am trying my best to only read things that I think I will enjoy, and to sort of, I want to do a TBR unhaul video at some point where I go through my Goodreads TBR, because there's like 1,200 books on there, and pull things out that I'm no longer interested in reading or that I don't think I will like, just because I want to read things I will like. But this is a book that I do still at this point think I will like, and again, it's got a nice mystery aspect to it, which I'm very excited for like the fall winter months. I feel like that's something I always am looking for. And we only have 2 more, so we're almost done. I'll get rid of the bag because it's kind of noisy. The last 2 that we have, this one is The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. She's also written a couple of other things that I've heard of, but I'm just going to read you the flap. It says, Hetty Handful Grimke, an urban slave in early 19th century Charleston, yearns for a life beyond the suffocating walls that enclosed her within the wealthy Grimke household. I don't know if Grimke's how it's pronounced, by the way. The Grimke's daughter, Sarah, possessed of a ravenous intellect and mutinous ideas, has known from an early age that she is meant to do something large in the world, but she is hemmed in by the limits imposed on women. Sumunk Kid's sweeping new novel is set in motion on Sarah's 11th birthday in 1803, when she is given ownership of 10-year-old Handful, who is to be her handmaid. The invention of wings follows their remarkable journeys over the next 35 years as both strive for lives of their own, dramatically shaping each other's destinies and forming a complex relationship marked by guilt, defiance, estrangement, and the uneasy ways of love. As the story is built to a riveting climax, Handful will endure loss and sorrow, finding courage and a sense of self in the process. Sarah will experience crushed hopes, betrayal, unrequited love, and ostracism before leaving Charleston to find her place alongside her fearless younger sister, Angelina, as one of the early pioneers in the abolition and women's rights movements. Inspired in part by the historic figure of Sarah Grimke. Oh, so it's based on a real person. Interesting. I am curious about how this is going to work, just because Sumunk Kid is a white woman, and I'm always a little wary of white people writing the stories of other non-white people that they, I don't know, like writing for communities that they're not a part of, if that makes sense. I will say Jessie from Bow Ties and Books semi-recently, I don't know. I watched the video today, but I don't know how long ago they released the video. It could be an older video that just showed up on my feed today. But I will link their video down below because I think it's much more informative than me saying that is. But this was on Oprah's book club. Apparently it's got a sticker. I'm excited to read this. I've heard of a couple of other Sumunk Kid books, but this is the one I ultimately ended up putting on my list because I feel like that's the one that is at the top of my TBR. So, and then last but not least, I have The Plot, which by Jean Humph Corlitz. And I believe this is about a guy who is a professor or something, and he has a student who pitches him this really good plot for a book, and then I think the student dies, and the guy writes the book and gets really famous from it, and then someone is blackmailing him because they know that he didn't come up with the idea. I think, I could be wrong. Again, that's just what I've heard, and I don't want to know too much about it before going into it, but I'm really excited to read this. This is actually the first book that I saw that I was like, okay, I'm going to get that book, and that's why I ended up getting all of these other books. But this is my haul. So, I'm very excited to have all of these books. I have been buying a lot of books recently, I feel like, because I bought 4 last week, and I got these this week, so we're definitely coming up on a time when I need to try to do another TBR clear out. So I think I am going to try to do 31 books in 31 days again in October. I always fail, but it's always fun to try. So with that, I think I'm going to do my next roll to figure out my next BOOKOPLATHON book. But I think that I'm going to just put that in next week's vlog so that it's a more concise thing. So this week, I don't think I finished any books. I'll have to go back to the footage and figure out if I have or not. Snake Eyes. So we're going to do a second one as well. Whoop. 6. Whoop. Okay, so last time we landed on Pole. So 1, 2, and that is published since the year 2020. And because I did a double, I have to use 2 prompts. So then we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. TBR game. So let me get my TBR game out and we'll pull a prompt from that. Okay, so this is my TBR game. It is Sorry picks my TBR, so it's game Sorry. And then I draw cards every month. I say every month. I haven't done this game since July. So I'm going to just draw a card from the pile here. Move forward 8. And then I did set my piece where I landed off last time in blue. So we're going to move forward 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is a book with queer rep. So I'm going to be reading a book with queer rep that was published or set after the year 2020. Okay, hi, you get another angle of this little room. But I've decided I'm going to be reading The Summer of Impossibilities by Rachel Allen because it was published in May of 2020, and it also is listed on Goodreads to have queer rep in it. So it's a YA contemporary, and it sounds like it's about a group of girls or just a group of people the same age who are all, I think the children, their mothers were friends, and so they are spending the summer together at a lake house. and I don't really know what else happens, but I'm excited to read this. This is another book that's been on my TBR for quite a while, so I'm really excited to get this done. This was one of the books that I think was included in the poll when I was asking what I should read when people picked The Starless Sea. No hard feelings, just not the book for me, so I am gonna get this as an ebook and hopefully read it relatively quickly so I have some updates for you. But I also want to let you know that I got an audiobook of Gone with the Wind. So I am listening to that. It's a 50-hour audiobook. I don't know if I'll even finish it this month, but I wanted to read this book forever, and I feel like audiobook is the way to go. I've seen this movie countless times and love it, so I'm really excited. I will say already, I knew that this was going to happen, but like the language around race is really uncomfortable to listen to, so I'm really glad I'm not physically reading it and that I'm hearing someone else say it, but also I can't tell if that's making it worse because it is kind of jarring to hear the way that things are being talked about. But again, if you don't know, Gone with the Wind is a novel set during the Civil War, and it basically follows a girl named Scarlett O'Hara. It's considered the greatest love story of all time. I don't know how dated of a like reference that is, but it's Scarlett and Rhett Butler's love story, and Scarlett O'Hara is a daughter. I don't know if she's the oldest daughter or what of this like plantation owner. So there are slaves that are in her family, and then during the Civil War, she has to leave her family home and like all their slaves behind and sort of a way of life behind. That's kind of what the book is about. So I am excited to read this book because Scarlett O'Hara is one of those characters from the film, at least, that I absolutely love. She's one of my favorite characters of all time. So I'm really, really glad I finally get to read this. But I'm also going to be reading Summer of Impossibilities next week, and I will let you know tonight if I have an update, or more likely next week. Okay, in a twist of events, I've actually decided to extend this vlog for another week because BOOKOPLATHON ends on Friday, and I don't think I'm going to get very much footage during the week. But that being said, I have started the Summer of Impossibilities. I've barely started it, and there's already been an Alanis Morissette reference because their mom. So the premise of the book, the reason why the girls end up going to the lake, it's sisters, by the way. Skylar and Charlotte, I think are their names. And their dad cheated on their mom. So she's playing You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. And I love that for her. Obviously not being cheated on, but Alanis Morissette is great. Jagged Little Pill, there's a reason that it's the third top grossing album by a female artist of all time, I think. So anyways, I just wanted to let you know that that's where I'm at. Okay, I think I look the same as I did yesterday, but it is a whole separate day. I am reading The Summer of Impossibilities still, and I'm really liking it. So it is about a group of girls whose moms were all best friends in college, and one of the women is going through a divorce, and so she's going to the lake house with her twin daughters, and then she invites her 3 college best friends over with their daughters. So there's 4 girls now, and there were 4 girls then. And I will say, this is giving me big, like, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants vibes, except these girls are finding out at, like, 17 that their moms, they're not finding out that their moms were best friends, but they're finding out that they're going to be best friends, I think is what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's, like, a friendship story, which I love. But I will say, with books like these, I really wish we got the perspective of the parents. Like, I wish this book was told, I know this is going to shock you because I usually don't like dual timelines, but I do really wish that we were getting either a dual timeline or a second perspective of the moms of these girls. I think that would be really empowering. And I know, or impactful, not empowering. And I know that part of the reason we probably don't is because this is a book written for teenagers. So it's about teenagers, like this is a young adult book. But I want a Gilmore Girls style book, but instead of the mom and daughter being best friends, that can be part of it too, but I want it to be about like a group of adults who are friends, who have daughters all the same age. I think that would be so cool. So if you know any books like that, please let me know, because that's all I can think about. They found their mom's old like clubhouse where their moms used to hang out when they went to this lake house in college, and now they're like gonna reenact sort of the mom's ritual. They would like have poker nights and wear pearls. It's called like the Southern Bells Drinking Club, I think, which first of all I love. I think that's hilarious. But I really wish we were getting some of the moms' perspectives in this. Like, even if it was just getting the moms realizing that the girls were up there, because they're all really worried about getting caught with their moms drinking. Because I think only one of them actually knows that it's their mom's old clubhouse. Like, they think it's just something that someone else who rented the cabin has done, but it's what their moms used to do. So I don't know. I really, really wish we were getting some of the mom's perspective in here, because I think that would like really balance this book out a little bit, if that makes sense. So again, if you know a book that does what I'm thinking, please let me know, because I would love to read it. Hello, it's Tuesday. I'm sorry you can hear the Roomba running in the background, but it's the morning that we run it. I'm not wearing any eye makeup today because I am going to an eye doctor appointment, which is very exciting. I actually need to go upstairs and grab my old contacts box so that they can see my old prescription, because I know I could tell them my old prescription, but they have this thing where they don't believe you when you go to the new doctor for the first time. I don't know if other people have experienced that. I don't know why doctors always think that I'm like lying about things. I'm like, why would I lie? You think I want to pay this much money so that I can see? Why would I lie? Anyways, I wanted to let you know, my hair is sticking up. I wanted to let you know that I am almost finished with the Summer of Impossibilities and I'm still really enjoying it. But I also wanted to take a second to let you know who each of the characters are and like about them, if that makes sense. So, like I mentioned, this book follows 4 girls who are the daughters of these 4 best friends from college. Although I will say the 4 best friends from college, one of the women does not have a daughter their age. Her wife is pregnant right now, I think. Or maybe she's pregnant. I don't remember which one of the wives is pregnant. But she does not have one of the daughters, but one of the women had twins. So that's why there's 4 girls, just like there were 4 before. Which is interesting, I guess. A way to make it a little more like realistic. I don't know if it actually does, but they're each going through something this summer. So Skylar and Scarlett are the twins. Skylar is suffering from juvenile arthritis, and she used to be this really big softball player, but she can't really play anymore, so she's on a rec team so that she can like keep her skills up, even though she can't play competitively the way she wants to. But her medicine isn't working. So her whole thing this summer is that she's trying to talk to her mom about her medicine not working, but her mom is the one who's going through the really bad divorce. So she feels like she has to be strong for her mom, and she can't really talk to her mom about this at this point. Her sister Scarlett we're not really told what exactly her mental health condition is, or whatever, like whether it's bipolar, which is sort of where I'm leaning, just because she has very high highs and very low lows, and she seems to be on like kind of a manic depressive cycle. But also, that could not be what's happening. I could just be reading too much into it. But she does have a history of self-harm. And so she also has this boyfriend who her whole thing this summer is trying to like retain this relationship, even though she's not around him as much as she wants to be, because she's at this lake house thing. Also, the self-harm thing is going on in the background. So that's part of her thing. Then we have Ellie, whose real name is actually Jamila, but she is Muslim, and she plays tennis competitively, and also she's homeschooled, which they haven't really gone that much into, but she's having a really hard time back with her tennis academy and like regular, like her life where she lives, usually making friends. She doesn't have any friends. And so her whole thing this summer is that she wants these girls to be her best friends, just like they were her, like their moms were her mom's best friends. So that's sort of where she's going. She's also got some stuff, it's sort of hinted at that she's got some sort of body issues, because she talks a lot about what she eats and what activities she's doing, and not exactly in a toxic way, but just in a way that reading it, you know, she's thinking too much about it, if that makes sense. Which I think maybe is easier to like wrap your head around if you've been through that, but like it's a very familiar sounding thing to me. So that's her thing. And also she goes by Ellie, and her dad is white and her mom is Indian, and she looks more like her dad. So she has sort of been struggling with feeling like she's not Muslim enough or not Indian enough, because she looks very white passing. So that's part of what she's going through as well. And then the last girl is Amelia Grace. And Amelia Grace is gay, but she's also really involved in her church. And at the beginning of the book, they sort of tell her she can't be involved in her church if she's still gay. And so she's going through that. One thing I will say is interesting about Amelia Grace is that Amelia Grace's mom is best friends with Val, I think, from college. And Val is married to a woman, and they are about to have a baby. And they are all on this retreat together. And so it seems weird to me that her mom would be that homophobic if one of her best friends is a lesbian. Does that make sense? So her mom is like thinking about, because Amelia Grace has a horrible stepdad too, and he's part of the reason that this is coming up. but her mom is thinking about like sending her away to a camp. And then the only reason they don't send her away to a conversion camp is because they can't afford it. So it's odd to me that she would be going that route when one of her best friends is a lesbian. If you've read this, let me know if you got like a different reading on this, but that's my like big question mark for that one. This book is good overall. I will say it's annoying me how much of their regular lives have followed them to this lake house because it feels like a logical misstep. So I think the lake house is somewhere in the Carolinas. That's the vibe I'm getting. The twins live in Winston-Salem. They've mentioned that now. Normally, I don't know where in North Carolina that is. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I just know it's in North Carolina. Jamila lives in Washington, D.C., and Amelia Grace lives somewhere in Tennessee. And they all have converged at this lake house. So I'm wondering how close the lake house is to Winston-Salem, because I guess the twins are the ones who mainly like have a lot of people from their like regular life coming in. Maybe it's not even a lot of people. It just seems like a lot of people. Also, their old plays tennis, Ellie, she is still playing tennis this whole time. And the girls from her tennis team back in Washington, D.C. are still playing a big part. And I just feel like, isn't it kind of far? Is that a thing? It just seems weird to me. Like, or just too convenient, maybe? I don't know. So that's where I'm at with that book. I'm liking it, but there are a lot of things that aren't completely adding up to me. And also, it's doing the thing where it's like being really, really cheesy about things that I feel like, I think the reason this is so cheesy to me is because it's not something that I can relate to. Because it's not something that I cared about when I was a teenager. So it's harder for me to put myself in that position because it's sort of newer things like social media things. Not that social media didn't exist when I was a teenager. I just feel like not to the extent that it does right now. Or at least no one I knew took it seriously. So for me, the fact that some of the girls take their social media stuff so seriously is interesting and like kind of weird. Not weird, that sounds bad, but also one of the girls is obsessed with emailing people and she only emails. Do y'all still email? Y'all being the children? Because like I only email for work. I don't email, like when I was in 6th grade, I didn't have a cell phone, but I had like an AIM account and I would email and instant message people, you know? But they have cell phones. Why are they emailing their friends? I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me. So there are some things like that that aren't really clicking in this brain of mine. But this update has been way too long. So I'm going to go because I forgot I was combining 2 weeks of videos. I'm going to go to work and I will let you know when I have another update. Hello, I am at my house. It is Wednesday afternoon. I am working from home for the rest of the day because there was really no reason for me to be in the office today. I didn't really have anything that I had to be in the office to do, and I am allowed to work from home sometimes. I need to clean my house, as you can see by the piles of things. So I'm going to be doing that at some point today as well, but I need to finish up some work stuff that I can do from home, so that's what I'm doing. I also kind of was having a headache from all the fluorescent lighting that's with the lights. I don't know if you can tell, the lights are not on in this room right now. It's bright enough outside with the window, so I think it's fine for me to work, but I do have my work laptop and I am working from home right now, but that's what I'm doing. But I wanted to update you that I did finish The Summer of Impossibilities, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Realistically, this book was more like a 3.5 star for me because I did thoroughly enjoy it, but I don't know if it was everything that I wanted it to be, but I think I gave it 4 stars because it had the potential to me to be like a perfect book. And now reading it has made me realize that I really, really want to find the perfect version of this book for me, which would be a book, again, told from the perspective of like a group of girls, think Sister to the Traveling Pants, where they are like really good friends, but their parents were also really good friends. But I want one that has the parents' perspective in it, so it feels a little more like, to me, it would be like the show Gilmore Girls in a book. Not necessarily with the Gilmore Girls vibes, but just because that show is about a mother and a daughter and about what they're both going through in their lives, and then it also explores their relationship with each other. I want that, but this style of book, if that makes sense. So if you have any recommendations for that, please let me know. Sorry if you can hear construction sounds. They are doing construction on the house/apartment next to us. and they're turning it into an office. So that's what's happening there. But I did go ahead and already roll for my next read. So I will show you those rolls now. 8. We finished the last one on TBR game, which means we're going to move forward 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a mood read. Since I got mood read, I don't know what I'm going to pick. I'm trying to think about like what I am in the mood for. So I am currently in the middle of 2 books anyways. Like I'm listening to the audiobook of Gone with the Wind. I don't know how far into it I am. I want to say like 30%. It's extremely long, and I have the audiobook on one of my apps that only goes up to 2 times speed. And the audiobook narrator reads so slowly that I kind of wish I could go up to 3 times speed. This is a book where I feel like that would be very helpful, just because it is a 49-hour audiobook and she's talking kind of slowly. So that's a bummer, but I am going to continue to listen to that. I have thoughts on that book, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say they really hate Scarlett O'Hara as a character. I've already mentioned she's one of my favorite film characters. I really just like the fact that Margaret Mitchell said, I'm going to write the most unlikable female protagonist that I possibly could think of. And I just think that's a really interesting take, because Scarlett is very, very unlikable. She's a horrible person, but I really enjoy reading from her perspective. I just think it's so, like, interesting as a character study. Obviously, this book is, like, horrifically racist because it was written in the 30s, so it was already going to be kind of racist. But also, it's, like, a love letter to the South during the Civil War. So racist for all of those reasons, but I am really enjoying my read of it, which kind of surprises me, just because I was so jarred by the way they talked about like black people in this book. It's horrible, but it is something that I guess, I don't know if I'm getting used to it, because it's still very jarring to read about. But it's still like a really interesting reading experience. I hope I'm making sense when I'm talking about this. And then I'm also in the middle of Tilly and the Book Wanderers, which is the first book in the Pages & Co series. I don't have any more updates about that. My interest in that is kind of waning, unfortunately, as I read it. I'm gonna finish it, but it's probably gonna be like a 3-star read, and I don't know if I care about reading the rest of the books in the series. It just depends on how it goes. Just because plot-wise, it's kind of slow. I kind of, like, I feel like as a person when I was younger, like middle grade aged, or like in the age group, I would have needed something that was very plot focused, and this book just kind of isn't. I'm about, again, like 35% of the way through it, and I don't know really what the plot is going to be besides the premise still. And that to me is kind of a red flag. I don't know if I'm really into like the meandering style of it, but I am reading that. So I'm probably going to, I would like to finish one of those things before I pick something up for this vlog, but I'm a little nervous because it is the 28th, so I only have 2 days left of BOOKOPLATHON, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I can pick up and finish in those 2 days if I don't start anything now, especially because, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, I have my court swearing in on Friday in the capital of Missouri, Jefferson City. So it's about 2.5 hours away. So we're going to be leaving Friday morning to go to that. And also my dad is coming. So he is flying in tomorrow night, which means I probably won't be reading anything after tomorrow afternoon. So I don't know if I need to pick another book or if I can just count the books that I'm reading for like mood reads and call it good. But I will let you know if I have an update on either of those. I really do think I can finish Tilly and the Book Wanderers. I don't know if I can finish Gone with the Wind. That's how I'm feeling right now. But that is my plan. I will let you know if anything changes, and I will also let you know if I have any other updates generally. Last night, I think I did one B-roll clip of it, so it might not be that important, but we rode the streetcar up to a restaurant in the River Market, which is called, I think, just Kansas City Taco Company, which was really fun. It was really, really good. They had a Taco Tuesday deal, so we did that, and they have margaritas that are all sorts of fun flavors, so we went and did that, and then we went to this place. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I think it's called Streetcar Bar and Grill, maybe, and we went there and had like a nightcap drink before coming back home, and it was really fun. But I definitely had a slight hangover this morning, which might be part of my light sensitivity. But also yesterday, the reason I didn't do reading sprints, I know I've been saying that I was going to do reading sprints every Tuesday, and I haven't done it for like 2 weeks, so sorry about that. Yesterday I had an eye doctor appointment in the afternoon after work, and so I didn't get home until almost 6 o'clock, which is why we ended up going out to dinner, because I didn't really want to cook anything, and I don't think Matt wanted to eat leftovers. So, yeah, but I'm really excited. I am gonna get new contacts, so I will finally not be wearing glasses all the time, which I'm very excited for. I do like my glasses a lot. I will need to get updated glasses as well, because my stigmatism is getting worse, which is perfect. Every time I go to the eye doctor for the last like couple times, I've been like, hey, when are my eyes gonna stop getting worse? And they have been telling me 25, and I'm almost 27. So we'll see if that's accurate and if this is my final prescription, which I hope it is, because I'm tired of being not able to see in my prescription glasses. But that is it for this update, and I will let you know if I have another one.
So what are the smokestacks or whatever over there? What are those?
Over there, that's enlisting friends trying to enlist Boy Scouts.
Hello, it's Sunday, and I realize I never closed out this vlog, so I'm doing that now. But technically, BOOKOPLATHON is over. It ended on Friday. As I sort of predicted, I did not finish anything else. I think I'm like 80% of the way through Tilling the Book Wanderers, so I hopefully will finish that today. That's the middle grade I've been reading, and I will say, I think that book was too slow to start, because now that we're sort of figuring out what the plot is, it took like 52% to really get into what was happening, and I personally would have liked the beginning half to have been shortened quite a lot, because I don't think it was necessary to be as long as it was. But I do have some book mail. This was sent to me by my friend Amanda, I'm pretty sure. She asked for my Amazon wish list, which is why I'm assuming this is from her, but I thought I would open it on here for you. So I'm just going to do that now, if I can. Oh, that was really easy. So, ooh, oh, Show Me Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson. That is so sweet, because this is a book that I literally always have to get on hold from the library, and for whatever reason, it always takes forever for the hold to come in. So I am so glad that she got me this, and I think, yeah, so the volume of White Sand that I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to read this month is in here, so I can read that. This is so exciting. Thank you, Amanda, if you're watching this. This is very sweet. I was not expecting this at all. And also, look how beautiful the cover is. That's really pretty. I'm obsessed with this. I'm very thankful. Also, this copy, this has so many like stories in it. It's 670 pages, but I feel like it doesn't look so overwhelmingly large. Like, I got the physical copy on hold at my old library where I used to live, and I feel like the copy was like this big, like huge. And so I'm really glad to have that. Thank you. That's very sweet. But like I said, that's going to be it for this vlog. I think you will have seen like a couple clips from when we went to the World War I Museum with my dad yesterday, which I guess technically the vlog was over then too, but I thought I would insert something. So that's it. That's it for this vlog. That's it for BOOKOPLATHON. Let me see how many books I read in September for you really quick. So in September, I did manage to read 11 books, and I am in the middle of 2 other books, Tilling the Book Wanderers, and I'm still in the middle of Gone with the Wind. I think I'm a good way through Gone with the Wind now. I was not expecting to finish that this month, so I'm just going to continue to listen to it as an audiobook when I'm getting ready and doing stuff, walking to work, etc. So yeah, that's where I'm at for this vlog. I think I had a pretty successful September reading month. It's making me nervous though, because I thought I read quite a bit in September, and I only read 11 books, which is a lot, but I have 13 books on my October TBR, so now I'm like questioning whether or not I'm going to get all of them in, but yeah, that's it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to, you can subscribe to my channel, because I do try to post 2 videos every week. This video should be going up today, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm about to sit down and edit it, so I think I have like a lot of footage, so hopefully I can get this video to be under an hour. That would be great, because I feel like if it's an hour long, nobody's going to watch it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you, Amanda, again, for getting me Arcanum Unbounded. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so excited to have it on my shelves. This is, I think, the only Brandon Sanderson book that I own, which is crazy, because I've read so many of his backlists. Oh no, I own the Mistborn trilogy. That was a lie. I also own the Mistborn trilogy. But yeah, thank you. And I will see you guys in another video very soon.